Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. This is this wonderful Saturday morning. I find it necessary for me to come share with you what I've been shared. And this is my subject matter. I have two subjects. I might do it both here, depending on how long they are. One is pimping, and the other is you have always been winners. Now, let me give you some facts, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, first of all, let me tell you this so I can qualify the things I'm going to say to you. God is real. God is real. Now, we can't see God per se, like you see me, image of me. We can't see God like that. But the evidence of God, you see these trees behind me? Evidence of God. You see these glasses on my face, this shirt? Oh, you see this person? Evidence of God. You who are receiving this information, evidence of God. So that's undeniable. Now, what kind of God is there? Well, you see me, it's fantastic. You see the trees, fantastic. You see the sky, fantastic. You don't see the sun, but it's glaring in my face. So everything works in order with God. That's the way it works. It works. With God, it works. With God, it works. Let me say it one more time. With God, it works. Without God, it does not work. You as people individually, usually you could say, work. I'm sure there are some outcasts, but for the most part, you as a group, collectively, do not work. So that part that God had a hand in, which is you individually, it works. But that part that he gave to you, the collective, you see how he handled you. You're together. But now the collective, that brings you together and you create the idea that works. If it works, it's of God. Through you, an instrument. If it does not work, it is not of God. Through you, the instrument. People of color, second-class citizens, minorities, the poor, all of us fall in one of those categories, except one, the power, the human power, the earthly power, the chieftains that's following the directions of that which does not work. For us, for we the people, but it works for the one. And that is, my friends, our greatest challenge every day. You see, we, for all of these years, have put our faith in a division, something that has been devised as a mechanism to empower that which wants the power. I'm sure it happened ever since this first started. It never let up. Today we're here. We're speaking about 400 years for we would second-class citizens. We're here under those banners, accepting those banners. We've gone through some challenges. We've gone through some changes. We've struggled to get from under them, but the power that be says, not today, not today. I think about black people here in America. We've gone through some trying times. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been through them. I just got some dye on my hair. But I've been through them. And I'm telling you, it's just a repeat of things. All the promises are just repeats that have failed, given up, they're coming back, promises. And that is what is always going to be, promises. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, people of color, after 400 years, there's no way you should trust any white person to lead you anywhere. Because you've been led for 400 years by white people in all kinds of promises. And every time you're right where you always been, a second-class citizen. Now, you don't recognize the game that's being played on you. They had chosen Joe Biden even before they even started talking about, well, and all these other people that came on board, they figured Joe Biden didn't stand a chance. He was too old, too. And they stood a chance. But not with the powers that be, you don't stand a chance. We don't want you. They don't want you. They got to keep the game playing. What happened with George Floyd? The powers that be that created the earth were speaking to the world, telling you what you're dealing with. Telling you what you're dealing with. And I have said, to me, it appears as this is Judgment Day. It appears to me as though this is Judgment Day. This is the time that it is requiring action. No talking. Requires action. Everyone must be identified individually. And if you happen to fall in a collective, that just so happen to be there. But this is my judgment on us all. The powers that be, they know what's going on. When you saw this vicious murder, you knew what was going on. They knew you were going to respond. They knew you were going to protest. So right away they had decided that, well, we'll give up this, give up that, give up this, give up that. What is this about? To pacify you, to satisfy you. Take a little power away from the police. Take some money from them. Give it to the community. Let the community handle some stuff. Make them get involved. Let them be involved. Make them feel important. Give them a job. Give them some responsibility that leads them nowhere. Why? Because they're still in the same old boat, second-class citizen. Anybody talking about anything like getting rid of that? No, they got Joe Biden sitting up there making sure. They figure Trump might lose. I mean, he went crazy. So they figure, well, he got us on up the road. He got enough Republicans in the seats of power to control wherever we're talking about for the next however long. Hey, well, see, they didn't understand that they are not the power. They're trying to play the power. This is why they're trying to stack the course, ladies and gentlemen, trying to play power. This is the baton. This is the gun. This is the knee on the neck. And people are sitting back talking about talking. What we're going to do? Joe Biden is so much better. And they're just feeding this to you, feeding it to you, feeding it to you. Have you ever heard anybody tell you anything about this? Have you heard anybody in the public media, any source, say anything to you about what I'm saying to you about the other choices that you have, that you don't have to settle to be a second-class citizen? You don't have to settle to be a slave. You can claim to be free and walk in it. Why aren't they telling you that? I bet you, if I was some lame brain talking about promoting this old system, man, you'd be hearing about me all over the country. Black man, been back there, promoting the system. You got to know what he's talking about. Come on, turn on the TV. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. This is something. Here is something that you don't understand, that I'm going to try to tell you that you can understand. How many of you are parents? You know how you talk to your children. You know what you respect and expect from your kids. You respect them. You expect them to do the same. You teach them according to your words and your actions, and you expect them to learn. That doesn't mean they're going to do exactly the same thing that you do. But the spirit, the character behind it will be with them. And it will help guide them as they go their merry way, because they are still instruments of God. They still belong to the maker of the trees, the maker of the sky. They just came through you. I started saying like the boogers through your nose, but that might hurt your feelings, so I won't say that. But anyway, what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, is this. When you tell your kids, you expect that. Now, you know they go right out of the house and they start listening to their peers. They go crazy. We all do, most of us. Now, I'm going to tell you now, there are a few people that don't go crazy. There are a few people that walk out of the house and do exactly what their parents do or tell them. Now, they don't be any progressive stuff because their parents weren't any progressive stuff. Well, whatever their parents were, if they're going to be that, that's what they're going to be. But for the most part, grown up means breaking away from the control and now being free to be you. What were those noises being made behind those doors when you couldn't see? Now you can find out. Why is candy so good when you're stealing it? You go through that. You got to find out this kind of stuff. But then you are growing. You still a tree in the making. Perhaps you can learn. People of color, 400 years, haven't learned. And today when you're sitting at the table trying to talk, that's an indication you haven't learned. But when God put you here, God got a purpose. God got a purpose. Everybody, we might be different shades, but we require the same sustenance for survival. God made sure there was plenty of resources hidden in the earth, on and above it, in it, seen, unseen. Talents and the gifts, wisdom, how to get it, bring it, extract it, store it in the reservoir of goods and services in an abundance that no one would ever be absent without it. Everyone that benefits from it plays a part in the process of it with a career of their own choosing that gives them their greatest joy, their peace, their prosperity, their freedom, the joy of life and the fulfillment of their dreams. All their needs, wants, and desires being met without lying, cheating, stealing, or killing, talking about war, anything like that. This is my master. This is the man. This is the power. Forgive me for saying man, but that's embedded in my teaching too. This is the power that created this and puts this here and says, this is, thou shalt have no others before me. In other words, to be perfect, you can't jive. So don't play with jive. Now, here we are. Everybody on earth, every system of government is in resistance to what I have just shared with you. Every government on the face of the earth. I advocate that we, the American people, I advocate that we change. We stop right at this date, knowing that Bill Clinton, what the Bushes, what Ronald Reagan and those others have done to persecute we as American blacks, sticking us in jail, feeding us with drugs, just to kill us out, trying to eradicate us from the face of the earth, when God put us here. And after seeing on the TV, after seeing on our telephones, the murder, you've seen the conditions under this power. We've seen its persecution on the brother. We've seen the crying out that represents we the people, and it has failed to produce anything. And we want to sit down at the table and continue to do what we've been doing, even with a Democratic Party to continue doing what it's been doing. Hey, my friends, you make God look like a stupid fool. God ain't going like that. This is why this is Judgment Day. Why? Because God has said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So what does that mean? That means you don't put up with this stuff. You don't sit down and talk. You know right now that justice has failed. You know it's failing and failing and failing even more every day. And you're going to sit down and talk? A child of God can't do that. A child of God will stand up and say, hey, that's all crooked. Let me show you the way that would lead to what I just got through sharing with you. You saw it. The world saw it. God. That's God. That God. The world saw it. No. So what happens? The pimp calling himself the power, using people to destroy, using people to become dictators, cause pain and suffering and killing and manipulation, all kind of this just to say that they got power. But not just to say it, but to exercise it. Play games with people's lives. But it's all good because God put us here for a reason. Thou shalt have no other gods before us. What does that mean? That means don't take it. Well, they'll kill me. Hey, you're gonna die anyway. Ain't there's one death there. You know, if they kill you or you die from a disease or you just live old until you just disappear. Death is death. But how you die, what's behind your death is the thing that's so magnificent. Why? He died. Having no other gods, accepting the real God, making sure that love is the order of the day. You think that God that made you don't have other worlds? Do you think that? Do you think you can be kind-hearted and treat people? You think you can be a Dr. King, a Gandhi, stand up for all that's righteous for all people and some nut come and blow your brains out? You think God let you be dead? No, my friends. God put that old stinking body in the ground and put you in paradise. I'm telling you, put you in paradise. And you know what he does? He leaves the people and all of that system that allowed you to die, that keep on doing the same old things that they were doing before you even came on the scene, and gave your life to try to wake them up, and they're just still asleep. You think God is going to punish you or take you out of existence? No, you're talking about heaven, baby. This is Judgment Day. You walk around here talking about some politics, talking about your neighbor's house looking good and your house in between. Why? Because they are privileged. You aren't. You have to go crazy to try to keep your house up to the standards. You know that it looks good to you. Yours doesn't look that good because you can't afford it. We're living in a system that's designed to make sure that that distinction is made. But God says no. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That means don't take it. Don't put up with it. You don't want to hear no conversation. There's no way any person of color should be talking about a Democratic Party. There's no way that any person of color should be talking about backing some Joe Biden. They should learn from what they did before. They made Bill Clinton a black president. Or did they make him a black president? Or did somebody just throw it out there, put it on the TV, and the next thing you know, everybody had accepted it? And he's out there. I hear he's connected with drugs as much as it could possibly be. And he's sending our brothers and sisters, making policy, changing laws and rules and regulations that got us in prison by the millions. And I say if anybody was led by the spirit of love, they'd stand up and demand that everybody that's in prison for dealing in drugs, marijuana and stuff like that be released. If they were selling cocaine, be released. Why? Because you're living in a system that made it just that complicated for you. That said if you wanted to enjoy life, if you wanted some money, so you can do the things of life that really matter to you, you had to become a vicious animal. And you became a vicious animal because that's what society created you to be, a vicious animal. And putting you in prison ain't stopping you from being a vicious animal, because the same thing that brought you here is bringing others here. And they like it just like that. Am I on there? Yeah. They like it just like that. Ladies and gentlemen, so that's what I mean by pimping you. Pimping you, right? Pimping you. But when I say that you've always been a winner, is that all that is, that God is God. It's here. And all that man has made, even though it is a corrupt system that did it, it all belongs to humankind. It all belongs to humankind. Even the slaves who built it, you know, you're supposed to be benefiting from it. You're just being robbed. So it still belongs to you. You're just still being robbed. And you accepting being robbed. But one thing you can always remember, they claim it as their own. They put their names on it. They claim it as their own. And they persecute you. Thou shalt have no other gods before the power, the true God. And if these people attack you, the enemies of love, if they attack you because you resist their persecution, remember this: you own nothing. Do you know when the protest was going on with George Floyd, people talking about giving you this and giving you that? But as soon as the looting started, as soon as the fire started, you found out what the powers that be really cared about. They brought out the National Guard. They were ready to bring in the military. They weren't thinking about you. They were thinking about what they were thinking about, what was important to them, not you. They beating you side the head, pepper spraying you. They were trying to protect that property. So you know what they already told you what they love. So if they want to hit you where it hurts, you know where to hit them. And you know what? You own none of it in their order of things. So I'm going to go now. I think I might have said enough. Until next time, Eddie Marcus. Goodbye.